My name is Dylan Osborne, and today I'm going to be talking to you about GMOs versus non-GMOs in the eyes of the producer. To get started, we'll talk about what GMOs are. They're a genetically modified organism. The seed that starts a GMO is the DNA strand inside the seed is modified to increase the resistance to disease or increase the yields in a lab somewhere, and then the seeds are planted and you get a GMO crop. How they came about, well, in 1935, a Russian scientist first discovered DNA, and the first GMO patent came in 1980, and it was for a bacteria to clean up oil spills. They genetically modified the bacteria to eat oil to help clean up the spills. And the first food GMO, which is what we're actually talking about in this speech, came in 1994 with Flavor Saver tomatoes. They were delayed in ripening, so they had a longer shelf life. And the purpose of GMOs, they came about so you can get higher yields. The farmer can get more yield out of each crop via a genetically modified organism, and they have high resistance to disease and pests. Whereas an organic crop, you use a lot of pesticides and things that people really consider harmful to the environment. And my first point, GMOs get higher yields. You can plant a GMO crop versus an organic crop, and typically 10 to 15% more yield per acre is what I've seen in the studies I looked at. Also, GMO seeds are more available to a farmer nowadays with Monsanto and DuPont. They patent all their seeds. They're cheaper than an organic seed and a lot more easy to get your hands on. And also with GMOs, they're improving on them every day. Whereas organic crops, there's not much you can do. You can change the way you try to manage pests or disease, but it's pretty much a run-of-the-mill, same thing it was 300 years ago, where GMO crops are always being worked on and improved. My next point will touch on GMOs and their ability to be grown in unsavory environments, such as like deserts. Corn is grown on every continent except Antarctica, and that's because of GMOs. Corn would never grow in the desert if you had genetically modified it. This allows countries to produce their own food. That boosts their economy. They don't have to buy foreign products. They can grow their own and provide jobs to people and start feeding themselves. And we sell these seeds. Most of these big GMO companies are in America, and we're also making a lot of money off it too. The country growing is making money, they're providing jobs, and we're continuing to provide jobs for these companies that specialize in GMOs, such as Monsanto and DuPont and Bayer now. My last point is how GMOs are going to help defeat world hunger. By 2050, we're going to have to produce more food than we've produced since the beginning of modern agriculture to feed the growing population. And there's no way you can do this without GMOs. An organic crop, they just don't have the output. You don't get the yields from an organic crop that you do with a GMO. More food feeds more people. We're going to have to continue to use GMOs and get rid of this stigma that they're unhealthy in order to feed everybody and keep everybody alive. And with feeding more people, this goes back to where they can grow. They can grow almost anywhere if you modify the DNA enough. And they'll grow in the desert, they'll grow in the snow. That way we can get these crops to these countries, not already processed. They can plant them themselves. Little villages in Africa can grow their own corn to feed everybody, grow their own beans, and eventually raise livestock, more so than they do now. It won't be a subsistence farming culture. It'll be for money and everybody won't be hungry. And like I said before, they don't hurt anyone. The World Trade Organization confirmed that GMOs are not harmful, and they had to do this so other countries would buy our genetically modified organisms. There's a stigma around it that they cause unwanted effects, like early puberty from hormones and this, that, and the other. And when you genetically modify something, you're not making it alien or mutated. You're modifying it for the benefit of everybody. In conclusion, we need GMOs to fight hunger and honestly boost everyone's pocketbook. Farmers with GMOs get more yields off less ground, And we're going to have to do that to solve this hunger problem we're having in the world right now. And it's only going to continue to get worse as the population increases. And the benefits far outweigh the supposed drawbacks. There really aren't any drawbacks to GMOs, but as you know, there's a stigma. All the labeling in the stores about non-GMO this, non-GMO that. If the consumer knew how little it actually affects them, I think they'd have a lot different viewpoint on the subject. But that is GMOs in a nutshell. Thank you.